This time on ECRN Garage, we're going to take these saggy bed springs and try to turn them into a pogo stick. I took apart this 73XL 350 set of front forks I had kicking around, and I pulled the springs out of them. They've been sitting around. I've had them at least 5 or 6 years. Nobody wants them. They don't fit anything I have. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to put those springs into these old Norton rolled holder forks. There's no springs internally on these, but the tubes are hollow. All I have is the external springs, and they're shimmed up quite a bit, but they're just not given enough preload. So it's really bouncy in the turns, and it's really soggy, and it's kind of sketchy to ride. So I'm going to see if I can get those to fit in there and give me a little extra spring. I got the top nut loosened off the forks here, and there's nothing inside of this. So I'm just going to grab those springs and drop them in. One, there's a washer that was in the Honda forks that went between the two springs, and they're a little too short. I'm gonna have to put a shim in there. Get my trusty Princess Auto caliper, and the distance from the bottom of the nut to the top of the spring is just under an inch. And I found something. The socket is just a little over an inch, so it'll give me a little bit of preload. So I'll put that in there with the nut. Alright, screw that down, and then we'll give it a little bounce test. If it seems like it's a bit better, then we'll do the other side. That comes back quite a bit faster now. Alright, I'm going to try the other side. Alright, got the big spring, the washer, smaller spring, and our socket shim. I said before, I changed the fork fluid last week there. She'd gotten some water and it passed the seals. I'd ran this thing in a couple of rainstorms and it pulled in some water. So I drained that all up, put some fresh stuff in. These things don't have seals, they actually just have bushings. So it's easy for water to get by them. Let's try that out. Alright, oh yeah, they can turn back about twice as good as before. And it's slowing my compression down, which I was having problems hitting the brakes. The front end was diving. I'm going to put the camera out front and check the bounce test from there. See if it's any better. Alright. Let's try that out. Yeah, it's not nosediving near as bad, and it's returning and settling way quicker. Well, I'll take it out for a test drive and see how it reacts. Now the next job, I'm going to take off this velocity stack I had on here. I was waiting for a new air filter to come in. This just came with some parts on the bike, so there's no screen or anything in it. You can suck in little birds and cigarette butts and stuff. So I got a proper air cleaner. It's a pancake kind for these old British bikes that they like to use. Comes with a threaded adapter in here. It's just got a couple little hooks on it. When you tighten it up, it just pulls this band together. Let's repeat that so it's at the bottom. Alright, air filter done. 2 jobs done tonight. I'll probably have to adjust my air fuel settings now that I've probably richened it up a little bit by the filter on there letting less air through. So once I get it good and warmed up after a drive, I'll retune the carb and see how everything goes, and that'll keep all the big chunks out. So I went for a little test drive to try out the helper springs I put in there. They did work good, but the suspension is just not great on this. This is off of Norton that I bought, and one of the fork leg tubes was actually split from water, so I had it repaired and reamed out again, and it seems to work alright, but the angle of this steering is different than the original BSA. The triple clamps are offset, so it's the angle is not great for absorbing bumps on this machine. So I have a line on an original set of BSA B44 front forks, so I think I'm going to put the stock forks back on. This was put on to lower this bike because I had cafe'd it a couple years ago. Now that it's street trackered, it's a bit low. So I'm going to put the stock front end on, get the height back up, put the original longer rear shocks on there, and this thing should be riding a whole lot better. Anyway, it's a little test to see what you can do, and it did work a bit better, but I think I'm done with these old shocks. I think they're ready for the garbage. Thanks again for watching and tuning in to ECRN Garage, where we never know what you're going to do next, and ride them while you can till you can't. Cheers, have a good weekend.